Okay, this video is for Lana. Taking a look at your spread the word story, which is great. It's I love it. And I don't have any changes written down for you, but I'm just going to go through it and let you know if I have any feedback. I've got the questions here from Mrs. Frederick. I've never actually seen her answers, but you seem like you got it covered, so no big deal there. Let's see, the spread the word to end the word campaign. So right there, I mean, you want to have this capitalized, right? It's the name of a campaign. It's an official thing the school's doing. And I'm not, I guess you would even capitalize. I guess you could keep the word campaign lowercase because it's not part of the actual title. So the Spread the Word and Word campaign started in 2013 when the Alney Low Inc. staff was working on promoting the Disabilities Awareness Month. People keep saying the R word at this point, so they thought, why not work in this campaign to stop it? It's a good informational intro. I might try and go for something a little more. You have like this. You have the rational, informational stuff, and then there's also like the emotional aspect of the story. And I know, like we say, as journalists, we're not supposed to be super emotional, but it's okay to convey that. You're not supposed to show your own emotion, but it's okay uh, to talk about the emotions of others. So you might want to open with something um, a little more with an emotional appeal. You know, so I might say something like, you know, um, something about how as humans we sort of we're creatures of habit and we're products of our environment. So like it's very easy for us to pick up slang like the word retard, you know, um, but at the same time we don't realize what we're saying. So we say this word because everyone else says it and it gets ingrained in us. But when you stop and think about it, um, it's a mean thing to say, because some people are mentally retarded. So we don't, we go to school with them. We don't want to talk that way. So let me see. I'll see if I can think of something else by the end of this. Another way to open this by the end of the story. But if not, you can give it a shot. But if not, this is okay too. Um, I would put it if you're gonna keep this here. I'd say people keep saying the R word at this point. So they thought, why not work on a campaign to stop it? This campaign begins with a week-long advisory curriculum that is used across the school and all advisory classes. I'm not sure what advisory means. Does that mean senior advisory, the classes where I guess you know, I mean, students will know. I just don't know because I'm not an only student. The Lowing staff promotes the campaign to the rest of the staff and then they use it in their advisory periods. Students are encouraged to sign the pledge. See, this is really good. I like how you break it down. You talk about how it happens, like step by step. This is how the campaign rolls out. This is really good, and this is what people don't do a lot of times. They don't explain things thoroughly, because you have to remember you have to write to your reader as if they don't know anything at all. So you're pretending like your reader knows nothing, which is a really good way to start this. So I really like this. This is great. Um, I would just try and think, I mean, does the average Alney student know what low ink means? I didn't know what it meant until I started working for the school. So, um, if you think there's some students who might not know that, I'm sure some parents don't know. Explain what low ink is. We say the low ink staff. I think it's low incidence. Low incidence. That means like low incidence means like it's special ed, but it's like low. There's few incidents of them having issues, having trouble. So it's sort of like a minimal special ed. So low ink is like kids who don't they're not like really, really severely mentally challenged, but they don't work in normal classes. They can't succeed in normal classes because they have some learning disabilities. So, you know, um, explain what low ink is. I'm not sure you knew before talking to Mrs. Frederick, but that's what it is. It's explain the low ink department. So you could say, um, let's start off with this. Let's say the campaign is an initiative of the low incidence um, low incidence section, I guess, of the special education department at Olney. Low incidence refers to a category of students who may not have severe disabilities, but don't necessarily learn at the same pace as some of their peers. So we want to be really careful with this. We don't offend anyone, so we want to use words like, disabilities and who, they might not learn at the same pace. We don't want to say like, oh, they're not as smart as everyone else. We want to be very careful. We want to use careful language. So always read that and think about, if I was a parent of a low incidence student, would I be offended by this? So we let them know what that is. Well, so we'll say, but we'll let them know low inc is that for short. So we'll say low inc for short refers to a category of students who may not have severe disabilities but don't necessarily at the same pace as some of their peers. That's good. So week-long advisory, the low inc, you can say low inc from now on. And I'll make sure that I have this written right. I'm not sure this is how they write it, and I'll double check and edit it later. This will be your last time with this because you're pretty close. So explain what advisory periods are if you think people don't know. If they do know, then it's fine. Students are encouraged to sign a pledge at the end to end the use of the R word and their use, right? Because you can't end the use, so we end their use, so they won't say anymore. Almost all students sign the pledge, and we hang sign ribbons in front of the building. What a nice campaign. So you want a comma here. So this is, basically the main comma rule is if it could be two separate sentences, then you need a comma. So almost all students sign the pledge. Bam, that's one sentence, right? But then, and we hang signed ribbons in front of the building. So it's two sentences, but it's fine. So you have it's separated by an and, but because there's two separate sentences, you need a comma. Olney has the largest special education population. So this is lowercase because special ed here isn't referring to a department, just a categorization of students. Population in publicly funded schools in the city of Philadelphia. So they do some fundings. So I would say, so once you mention this, you want to talk about, we want to bring it back to the importance of the campaign, right? So that's why they have this campaign. That's why it's at Olney and not other schools, because they have so many special ed students. So instead of ending a sentence with the T-shirt thing, I would say, so this campaign has special meaning here, meaning to the staff and students here. So this might even be good for the beginning of the story. This is how you can open a story. You want a good hook. You want to bring people in. You want to make them interested. So let's put that up here. So you don't say you don't know anything about this, and you read Olney has the largest special education population in publicly funded schools in the city of Philadelphia. Wow, that's a big thing. So that gets people interested. So that's how you can open your story if you want. So then you want to follow that up with, um, you know, the next thought is going to be something like, you know, um, this requires a special sensitivity and respect for students who, this means that students and teachers develop special sensitivity and respect students who, for those, for people with learning. But I think the politically correct way to say it is developmental disabilities. So that's like the really general way to say it. So, you know, people use the R word to refer to all sorts of people if they're in a wheelchair or they have some sort of like physical issue, or if they're mentally challenged. So we'll say people with developmental disabilities. Okay. So you said this reality of the student, student population led to the conception of a special campaign which teaches respect and um, teaches respect for people of all learning levels. So let's say this, in 2013, this reality. All right, so see, here's what I like. Here's a good way to write, I think. So you sort of, um, you want every sentence to make the reader want to read the next sentence. So here we got this. That's a big deal. This is important. And then you read this, you're like 2013 led to a conception of a special campaign which teaches respect for people of all learning levels. Like, oh, what is it? I want because you read this and you didn't say it yet, so you're making them. You're not giving them everything. And then let's see, how do we introduce the name of it? But let's sort of tell the story of how it got about. So we'll say we'll leave that out just for yet. We'll say the only low ink staff. Well, we explain low ink later, so let's just go the only staff. Can leave that out. Working on promoting disabilities awareness, working on ideas for promoting this. So I think this is a special designation of a month, so it needs to be capitalized. But the Disabilities Awareness Month. So stuff like that, Martin Luther King Day, African American History Month, that needs to be capitalized. So, and one of the things that struck them was the comment was the casual and careless manner in which so many people at Olney and throughout America use the R word. So, because I mean, the word retard is really popular, It's like people saying, when I grew up, everyone said it, it took me years to stop saying it because it was such a habit, just from like middle school or whatever. So here I think this is a great opening paragraph. I mean, you can change it back if you want, but I think this really brings him in. Um, so, okay, so with that, we want to say, with that, the spread the word to end the word campaign was born. Bam. That's a solid opening paragraph. You bring him in, you tell him what it's about, and then bam, and then you get to everything else. So this is great. You did really well with this. So they raise money selling T-shirts. Okay, so funds are raised during the campaign with sales of T-shirts that can be worn during a special dress down day. Students and staff who purchase the shirt may dress down each Wednesday in March. Oh, that's nice. So I guess it's multiple days. So we'll say special dress down days. So here's a little grammatical rule that you might find helpful. So these two sentences, like, this is kind of the same idea, that this could kind of all be one sentence, but you don't have to make it one sentence. You could do this. Put a semicolon. So Funds are raised during the campaign for special dress down days. Students and staff who purchase the shirt may dress down each Wednesday in March. So these are two sentences, but you're using a semicolon because they sort of directly relate, and this directly follows this. So anytime you have two sentences and one directly follows the other one, it's the same point. It's just a follow-up. You can just put a semicolon instead of a period. You don't have to capitalize this. So the money raised from the t-shirt sales is used to fund the low-income prom, community-based instruction, and vocational and domestic maintenance supplies. I'm not sure what this means, vocational and domestic maintenance supplies. See if you can expand on that, or explain. Just explain. Just to, reread what Miss Frederick wrote, because I actually don't have that, so I can't look at it. And see if you can explain that a little bit more. I don't know who Jaren Proto is. I think it's Jaren Frederick, whatever, but this is, I guess, I mean, she gave you this. If she gave it to you, it's correct. Maybe there's two people named Jaren? I don't know. I'll double check. Okay. When I hear the word being used, most often corrected with redirection. I personally hear the word less often from adults and students in the building. So this quote, I guess she's saying that she hears it less because the campaign worked. Hey, so that's okay. Um, and this is a good ending. People first language. Most important thing is that we use people first language and that we do not use the R word. So what you're doing here is, I mean, you're sort of, you want to let people know that you're talking. This is a quote from Miss Frederick, right? So, um, I mean, you want to. I would say, we want to give some context for that. So, the zip code newspaper staff got in touch with Ms. Frederick. You should make sure. I don't know how she spells if it's Ms. or Mrs. So you say Mrs. Frederick, comma, and then put her title. What is her title? I know it's in the. I know we asked that question. Put that here. Title and position. Title, position. Does she lead the campaign? So you could put. We got in touch with Mrs. Frederick, comma, who is a blank blank and leads the campaign at Olney. So now we know who that is. And then here's her quote. When I hear the word being used, blah, blah, blah. So, comma, she said. Okay. Um, so like this, to me, this is a little weird because we talk about Miss Frederick and we give her quote, but then you go right back into a thing about the campaign here, and it just seems a little bit disconnected. So I think she told you this. So what you want to say is you want to follow that thread. So you want to say, she explained that the campaign began just to spread awareness, comma, there's two sentences, and now it is a school-wide, you want a hyphen there, because this is a compound adjective, okay? So this is two words that make one adjective, school-wide, so comma, school hyphen wide, program that hopes to change the culture and the language we use. Part of the advisory curriculum is talking about words that offend us and coming up with alternatives to those words like, so you want a quote here because, we're talking about phrases in context. Like students with intellectual disabilities, students with autism, etc. So this is good. We've got all of our information. We've got a great opening paragraph. So how can we make the end strong? So we don't have a strong ending. So um, what do you want to say? How do you feel about it? Um, you can end with a. I don't think this is a really really strong quote to end on. The most important thing is that we use people first language and that we do not use the R word to make a change in society. And this seems like this is out of place here. So try and redo the last paragraph. Try and rewrite that. End with a really strong quote. End with your feelings. End with the, bring it back to the first point. Bring it back to like, this is so important for Olney because, Olney's a huge school. So, and we have tons of special ed students. So how can we reconnect the ending paragraph to the first paragraph? And lastly, we just need a good headline. We don't really have a headline. I guess you could be really simple and just go, um, spread the word to end the word. Campaign for respect and understanding at Olney Charter. How about you could be a little more creative and you could do something like spread the word. Olney is looking out for students with. Yeah, I'm just not sure what to say there. So you could be a little creative. Say spread the word, and it's like bam, and then just summarize the article. Or I mean, yeah, give it a shot. You know, list you come up with a few different headlines. Come up with like 3 or 4 different headlines, and we'll pick the best one. I'll pick the best one. But yeah, this is looking good. Double check your interview with Mrs. Frederick and see if um there's anything else. Um, you got the dates. You got the way it changed. That feedback. Sounds like it works. I think the feedback thing, that's what you're trying to say here. It's being used less. She hears it less. So it sounds like she's saying that it works. So see if you can elaborate on that. Um, yeah, see if there's a really strong quote to end on if you have other quotes. Um, but yeah, you did really well with this, and you're a really strong writer. So just yeah, make these changes and you'll be in good shape. Great job, Lana. Thank you for watching.